this shape up here, I'm going to go very light with the color. I just want to get some color on my paper. So when you're doing yours, in each section, use the color that you want that section to be, but very lightly. Basically, you're just laying some color down to get yourself started. And then, once all that dries, you can go back in and start glazing colors over the top. Okay. Any questions? So, then we're going to take a look at value. So, this over here is going to be my light source. Now, if you look in these paints, there is no black. Okay? So we're not going to be using black. I want you, when you are creating value or shadows, to use the complementary colors. So what's the complementary color of blue?
Orange.
Orange. So, well, my paint dried a little bit here, but I'm going to take some orange, and where those dark areas are going to be, I'm going to put some orange over the top. So I'm going to darken this side like this with the orange. And then, if I don't like that color, because it's getting a little too orange, I can always go back in and put some more blue on the top. But since you don't have black, you're going to have to use other colors to get that value in. So if I'm doing that shadow, I might start with some orange, and then I'll go back over it and glaze some blue over the top. And you'll get those darker values. Questions? Alright, so then let's talk about glazing. So when you glaze, you want the underneath color to be dry first. Now, obviously, acrylic paints don't take too long to dry, but you want to make sure that it's completely dry before you glaze over another color. So I'm going to take some green. Look how I get a nice blue-green underneath that. So even though I'm putting green over the top, you can still see that blue underneath. So you don't want to do like super thick layers of paint, because then you're not going to see that color underneath. Alright, so with scumbling, now Ella told us that it's nice circular movements. So I'm going to use some white first. Now you want your wow, I can't talk today, brush to be relatively dry when you're doing this, and you don't need a lot of paint. So I'm just taking a little bit of white, and now I'm going to do a nice circular movement over the top. Scumbling is a really nice way to make clouds and a nice atmosphere for your sky, because it gives a nice soft look. So just kind of like that. But even again with scumbling, you want your layer underneath to be dry before you go over the top. Now dry brush, it's somewhat similar. I'm going to just clean this off, but I want to have a really nice dry brush, obviously, as the technique is called. But, so I'm going to take, you don't need tons of paint, and it's just like this. So it's nice, broken brush strokes. Now you can go a little bit heavier. Kind of like that. But it gives you kind of a nice texture. And you can do it over the top of other paint. So if I would lay down some blue and then go over it and do dry brush over the top. And lastly, I know you guys know how to do this, but with stippling. Now Amber said, well, you can use the other side. You can use this side. I like to use the brush itself. And just little dots. Now obviously these aren't quite circular. But just like that. Now if you want bigger dots, you can use bigger brushes. So then, what I want you guys to do is I want you to practice all of these at your table. And we're going to work on some color mixing. So I did this grid. Now, these are just 1 inch by 1 inch squares. And what you're going to do when you start is you are going to lay the colors on the top down first. So when I go in with my green, I'm going to lay green all the way down here on top first. All the way in to fill up the squares. So then, what I did with this one is where it's green over here, after I had already put the red and the orange and the yellow down, I went back and over the top I layered on some green. So this is a way for you guys to see how the different colors look. So like when I put violet on top of yellow, I get this kind of weird brownish color. But when I put yellow on top of violet, it's a lot darker. Okay, so I want you guys, everyone should have one of these. I want you all to do one, and this is so you can reference it when you're painting. So there's paper right up here that you can use. And I will get out some paints and some palettes. Yes, Jacob?
What should we do first? The chart thing or the examples?
Why don't you start with the chart first so you kind of get some color mixing and then work on the techniques. Andrea?
Do you want us to be doing our sketches before?
No, I want you guys to work on this first today.
Okay.
Try to get these done today. Okay, I will get out some paints. There's brushes at the back, and I'll find some more cups for some water.